Hello, Scrappy Peeps. Suzanna here today for Simple Stories to share with you this multi-photo layout creating using the ColorVibes collection. So there's already pre-existing ColorVibes elements. You have the textured cardstock as well as the alphas, and newly released are some chipboard pieces, some flowers, some enamel dots, and some washi. So I have three 3x4 photos here that I am putting on one of the sort of, let's go with orangey, sort of more of a brick red color that goes with my son's school colors. So he goes to Virginia Tech, not Vermont, and the VT stands for Virginia Tech in this case, and the school colors are maroon and orange. So I am using predominantly maroon and orange because this layout is about his having received his Letterman jacket. So for the title, I'm going to use the letters Letterman jacket. So these are from the previously released alphas. These are the foam letter stickers. I am just putting them on the edge of a center ruler, but you could use any ruler to line them up so that we don't do the Suzanna title shuffle. And so the letters sort of bend a little bit, and so you do have to straighten them if that is something that bothers you, which you know me, it bothers me. So I am figuring out where they're going to go in relationship to the photos. I really like the white and how it adds another layer of contrast to all of the color that is in the photos there. So this layout is created exclusively using ColorVibe. There is literally nothing other than ColorVibe in this. There's no pattern paper. There is just the textured cardstock and then these embellishments. And they're simple embellishments, right? Because they are there for you to either keep a layout simple and or to dress up on your own. So to dress up these pennants that are going to say jacket, I'm going to layer them. And so I have the pennants that are there, and then you'll see as I figure out more of the layout how that's going to come together. So I know I want a white journaling spot, and so I literally am just going to cut a piece of white cardstock, and I could have used the white textured cardstock, but I really wanted the true white, and the white textured is not quite white. So I have a piece of white cardstock here. It's literally just a 4x6. That's where my journaling is going to go. But in the meantime, I want to get a little bit more color and texture into this layout. So that's what's fantastic about these chipboard pieces is you can get texture. So I chose to use the more orangey, browny, reddy, maroony colors of the banners, and then I'm putting more of the brighter colors, the less neutral colors on top of that to add color to the layout. So you can see I'm layering the hearts on top of the banners under each of those three photos on the top there. So then I am again using another piece of the fall ColorVibe textured cardstock to back this photo. So this is the larger photo where he's finally figured out the right way VT hand signal instead of the back to front one that he was doing up the front, up the top there. It was kind of funny because this is his second year at Virginia Tech and he's an athlete. So these kids usually use a lot of these hand signals. Yeah, not so much my son. So it was comical. So I'm just going to center each of these banners underneath Letterman there, and that is going to be, again, like I said previously, the housing for jacket. I had toyed with the idea of just using black letters or white, the letters themselves, but I decided to go with the letter tiles because as you can see from what I did just now, you can't really see it. So instead of doing tone on tone, I'm going to go with the white, which is absolutely perfect, right? You get that contrast in there and you are actually able to read it and it completes the title Letterman jacket. But I'm going to add a small little detail once that is there, and I think I'm going to do it directly as soon as I finish putting these on here. But I don't do my layouts in a logical process sometimes. So no, I'm not going to do it right away. It's going to come as a set not an afterthought, but it evolves. My design evolves. So I thought maybe I might use some of this jute, and I'm going to skip ahead because I actually make 3 bows, one for each of those hearts there, but I don't like it. It's not neat. It doesn't add to the look of the layout, so I'm going to go ahead and take those off. But I am going to use the washi in that same sort of I'm struggling with the reddy orange here, and I'm going to create just a little footer for that journaling space there. Again, I want to tie the color of the top of the layout into the bottom of the layout here. And so I'm using those maroons and those, they're really more kind of maroony browns, reddy browns, and the orange to tie everything together there. So because this is my focal point photo, I am using these stars to add a splash of color above and below. But in the meantime, I want to get this other stuff adhered at the top here because I know I'm going to use those, and I need to get them down because they keep shifting all over the page there. So my multi-layered hearts, and again, I'm just using a dot runner to get this all adhered down. I will use some liquid adhesive later on, but more for the jute and not so much for the chipboard pieces are fine if you just stick them down with the dot adhesive here. So multicolor stars of different sizes from the Vibes Bits and Pieces. So these are the chipboard pieces, and just again, drawing your attention to that main focal point, and because there's a little bit more splash of color, adds a little bit of vibrancy to the layout. So trying to incorporate more of these bits and pieces from ColorVibes in here. I thought maybe a row of buttons, but it's too much. There's something about rows of buttons that just take me back to like early scrapbook days, like 20 years ago. And I don't really like it. I don't like the depth. They're boring to me. I like them as an accent to these flowers here are absolutely perfect. And I want to personalize the flowers. So I am going to, in a minute, get out some gold flakes, again from kind of a throwback. I haven't used that in fact, honestly, I bought them and I never used them. So I'm going to pull out the gold flakes, but this is where I put my little sort of special touch to these banners. I think that these little teeny enamel dots look kind of like push pins that are holding the letters to a corkboard to the banners, right? Isn't that cool? Again, it's just a tiny little thing, but that tiny little thing makes me happy. So this is where I pull out the gold flakes and have no idea what it is that I'm doing. I have no instructions that come with them. So I decide that maybe I'm going to use the solid adhesive roller, and nah, that doesn't stick. So this is where I get out the liquid adhesive and just kind of blob it on there and then blob in some of the gold flakes. And I really love that added touch that it gives the flowers. I have some red gold flakes, that doesn't make sense. Gold red flakes? Anyway, whatever. They're red. And so that would be cool for other colors as well, or even just to add a touch of gold to it. So I'm not afraid to put flowers on my boy layouts, but I really only wanted a mix of color here. I like to have a piece of pattern paper that uses all of the colors in my color palette. And so I feel like this floral corner cluster here is what provides that wrap up, that pull all of the color together. So I'm going to use just the outside frame of this chipboard piece here, and I'm going to thread some jute through it so that it adds to sort of that fall-y look as well. I'm using my sharp tweezers here to push that jute through because it's slightly bigger than the hole. And I know I want to put something into the actual frame, but I didn't want it to be green. And then I thought, well, maybe I could use the yellow one. But what I decided to do is just cover it with cardstock, and you'll see that coming up. So you can see the jute split there. I was only pulling a few of the strands through, so I end up just cutting it off because it's still attached to the spool. And then that way I can rethread it and get the clean look of all of that jute coming through. So this, putting the jute down definitely requires some liquid adhesive, and the liquid adhesive is from ThermoWeb and dries clear, so it sticks nicely to the washi. That's the other perfect thing, is sometimes washi can be a little slick. You can sand it, but that kind of pulls up the color. So this liquid adhesive from ThermoWeb is perfect for adhering that down. And it's kind of just free floating there, but I am perfectly okay with that. So just gonna layer up the flowers here and be very non-original and use another one of the flowers and layer it with an enamel dot too, but that is what pulls all of the color down into that little, that's my uniting element that pulls all of the color together. So I still want to incorporate that jute, those jute bows somehow, but really the tails of it are just too much. So this is where I cover that center piece of the frame in white cardstock. So off camera, I am going to use a piece of the actual brown textured cardstock. So not that reddy brown, but the actual brown. It's a dark brown, kind of a sienna. I'm going to zigzag stitch through that, and that's going to go at the bottom there. And it really pulls it together super nicely because you've got the maroon that's in the jacket, and that's kind of that gray brown, and so you have that darker color in the photos, and having that strip down the bottom, A, it grounds the layout, and B, it sort of covers up a little bit of that really bright orange that is just almost too much contrast provided there. So be sure to head over to the Simple Stories blog and check out my blog post about this layout. And if you have any questions about this new ColorVibe product, so it comes in a million colors. It's super awesome. You have literally all of the colors to choose from. Enjoy the close-ups. Thanks for stopping in today. I hope you're doing well. Come back again soon. Take care.